apples.
So, Side Order, let's talk about it. Side Order is Splatoon's second venture into doing story mode DLC, quite similar to Octo expansion if you will. And from what we have seen so far, I'm excited for this DLC. From the characters, gameplay and the setting, this has me very interested. And I want to take a good look on what we can expect. And by the time I'm done, it will have felt like you actually played the DLC. So, without further ado, let's get started on this. Alright, the first thing I would like to talk about is the story. So, looking at it, the story seems to be going for a what if type story. That part being, what if Team Order won the final fest back in Splatoon 2? And that theme seems to be a constant thing, along with Order and Future, at least from what I am taking away from this. The DLC seems to be taking place in a bleached out Inkopolis square, at least from what I can tell again. Although this square seems to be devoid of color, life and people, which begs the question, what has happened to this place and what could we do to fix it, or just stop it from becoming a new Ohio? So, first things first, Agent 8 seems to have been brought into this place along with a pearl-like drone. And then they entered a tower that was seen a lot. That tower being called the Spire of Order, the place where we'll be in for the majority of the game. After fighting some fish robots of some kind, we then meet a sanitized Octoling called Octo. I'll talk about her and Agent 8 later on in the video. So overall, this is one interesting story that has me very hooked. Almost feels like Hideo Kojima worked on this, and I will not elaborate on why. Alright, on to the next part. Okay, let's talk about the gameplay for the game. Now, if there's a genre I would use to describe Side Order, it's roguelike. Now the thing is, I have never really played a roguelike game before, so I'll try and explain this as best as I can. Now, when it comes to roguelike games, each level is randomly generated, so each playthrough will be different for every player. So let's say one room you could be fighting some waves of enemies here and there, you know, just some bad guys that can just be taken out very easily. Or you could be fighting a coked out Saxon hell who ingested way too many perk 30s. At least what I think a roguelike game is to begin with. But just to be clear, I've got most of my information about roguelike games from Wikipedia, so take that as you will. Now, as for the levels themselves, it seems like we'll be progressing to each level via an elevator. But as for the levels themselves, you get to choose on what they are. And it seems like there's a risk versus reward system going on here. The higher the difficulty, the better the rewards will be upon completion. But quick side note, that thing looks like it's dispensing peach infused lean. So here's hoping we can expect a lot of lean references in Side Order. But before you do go into a level, you are given a color chip. So let's talk about that. Color chips seem to be some sort of item that help you out in many ways. From increasing your swim speed to letting you save ink on your main weapon, and so on and so forth. So I guess it's encouraged to customize your palette with colored chips that you see useful. But if you do end up getting splattered during your run, not only will you lose all your color chips, but you will have to start from the beginning again. But all your color chips will be converted into a currency called pearls. For example, you can use them to give yourself some permanent upgrades for your next run. So I guess that's where the replayability comes in for the DLC. So overall, the gameplay is something I'm very excited for. So let's move on to the next thing I would like to talk about. Okay, let's talk about the characters that we can expect for the DLC. So first, there's like Agent 8. And apparently, this isn't like a new Agent 8 you can play as, much rather the same one that you played as back in Octo expansion. So it's kinda nice to know that you actually are playing as a returning character. So that's neat, if anything. Okay, so let's start talking about Off the Hook now. As it was revealed, Off the Hook are on a world tour. During that world tour, they are with another band called Damp Socks. As for Damp Socks, it doesn't seem like they are involved in the story, directly at least. Maybe they will be like mentioned through either mem cakes or sunken scrolls or some kind. That's if we do get something like that in the game. But let's actually talk about Off the Hook themselves. First, there's Pearl herself. And here, she seems to be a drone by the looks of it. Yeah, Pearl do be using that Discord Nitro++ edition for real. But jokes aside though, she is going to be helping us out a lot in the DLC. So that's about it on Pearl, I suppose. Alrighty, so now let's talk about Marina now. So, while Marina is going to be involved in the plot, we don't really seem to see her anywhere. Just mentioned here and there. So we'll just have to wait and see when she'll make an appearance. But hey, that's just a theory. Again, theory. Okay, I'll just stop making awful jokes now. Alright, now let's talk about another familiar looking character called Octo. Some of you may remember her as Deadfish, the musician who made the music that you would hear in Octo expansion. So it seems like she's pretty much going to be our guide in the Spire of Order for the majority of the game. Also, her name is how you would say the number 8 in Dutch and German. So there's that. Now I would like to talk about the enemies of the game. Gelatins. The word gelatin seems to be a portmanteau on jelly and skeleton, as well as a play on gelatine. And there seems to be many types of gelatins that we can expect in the game. And then there's a shopkeeper called Scyther who we can buy things from. It's real nice to see that we can buy things from Scyther that we can potentially use either online or in our lockers. So yeah, that's pretty much it on the characters that we can expect for the game. So that's all I could pretty much see in Side Order, and quite honestly, I'm very excited for this. From the gameplay, levels, and characters, this has me all very intrigued. Just everything about Side Order itself just makes me want to play this thing already. But what about you though? What makes you excited for Side Order? Be sure to leave it down in the comments below. But that's about it for me here. Now, if you like this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I upload a video or go live. But with that all said and done, thank you so much for watching. Remember to stay safe and healthy out there, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now!